Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Brandy. This is Brandy's Books, and today we are going to be talking about all the books that I've read so far. I was going through my videos. I've only posted like 6 videos this year so far. Whatever. Anyway, and so I was going through and I was like, you know what? I haven't really talked about any of the books that I've read aside from like my favorite like alien romances so far. So I'm going to do 2 videos, because I know a lot of my original subscribers were here before I like showed y'all how fucking like how much of a freak I am. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a video that is not alien romances or romance really in general, and then a video that is. So this video is going to be all the non-romance-ish like books that I've read. So the first book that I read back in January that was not a romance book was actually the second book that I read of the month, so pretty good. Anyway, that was Lagoon by Nadia Okorafor, and oh my gosh, I don't remember a whole bunch about the book, to be completely honest with you. For me, Lagoon was a really I wrote that it was a beautifully sad book, and I don't know why it made me sad, but it did. But it was still really beautifully written. I loved all the different perspectives. There was a glossary in the back, and even though like I kept like kind of flip-flopping, like I didn't feel like it detracted from the book at all. I gave this book 4 stars. It's just a really pretty book. All right, the next book that I read in January was The Bird and the Sword by Amy Harmon. It wasn't a bad book. So in this world, pretty much there are people who have like their voices, their words are power or magic. This girl's mom, she gets murdered, and then as she's laying there dying, she's telling the girl to like swallow her words, basically don't speak. So the girl doesn't speak any words at all. And then her father is like waiting in the background. When there was a lot. It was a really boring book, honestly. It was set up to be really like interesting and fun, and like, oh wow, you know, if she speaks, like they're gonna find out that she's, you know, she has this power, and but it was just fucking boring as hell. I only gave it 3 stars. It was okay. So towards the end of January, I read another Amy Harmon book, which was The First Girl Child. And in this world, a kingdom was cursed so that no female children would be born. And it didn't matter if, like if it's like a Viking kind of like thing. So if they would go and steal like women from like other countries basically and bring them back and like use them as slaves and concubines and wives, they would still only have boy kids. And then miraculously one day a daughter is born. Unfortunately, I don't think Amy Harmon is for me. That book was just so boring. I gave that one 3 stars as well. Also in January, I Betty read Saturn Run by John Stanford with my bestie, Flora. And it was just a really good book. So this, you know, super wealthy, you know, pot smoking, white boy fucking surfer dude, who's really smart, he discovers something in Jupiter, as like basically an alien spaceship in Jupiter, and this book follows along what happens from there, like how Earth and how the Chinese and I think the Russians too, like how they're all trying to get to Jupiter to see what's going on. That's all I'm gonna say about it. It's just a really good book. So it's long, but it's really good. So the first non-romance book that I read in February was Falling in Love with Hominids by Nalo Hopkinson, and this is a collection of their works. Pretty sure everyone knows this, but like anthologies are, you know, some are hit, some are missed, some are, you know, just kind of in between. For the most part, I really enjoyed every single story that Nalo had written, and I gave that book 4 stars. The next book that I started reading was Forgotten by M.R. Forbes, and this is about, it's like a generational ship, like a long ago, like Earth created these generational ships to go to like this new Earth place, and it follows the sheriff. He discovers there's some things going on that others are trying to hide and keep hidden, and there might be something stalking the people on this ship, and a lot of people are dying, and some shit's getting covered up, and it sounds really good, but overall I I didn't really like it. I only gave it 2 stars. And then also in March, I read Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant, also known as Shauna Maguire. And this is... So, what if mermaids were real? What if they were also not what we thought they were? So this book made me extremely terrified of the deep ocean, which I was already terrified of the deep ocean, but now I'm like, I'm never gonna go on a cruise. I'm never gonna even fucking snorkel. Anything above the knee, I am done with. No, thank you. I don't want nothing to do with the ocean. Which is how I feel about deep space too, but I love it. Anyway, so this book was really, really good. Unfortunately, like towards the ending, like the ending was really like lackluster. Like it was building up and it was building up and it was building up, and then it just ended, and I was like, is that it? Is that it? But it is also the first in the series, so I guess we're gonna see what happens. But I did give it 4 stars because the only reason I gave it 4 stars was because it is a series, and because I'm really looking forward to seeing like how it plays out next, like what happens next, you know? And one of the last books I read in March was Traitors Blade, Great Coats #1 by Sebastian de Castell. This series has got to be one of my new all-time favorite series. So the Great Coats in this world are basically like magisters that this king, he set up. Like they enact the justice, and you know, they're basically judges, traveling judges. And there, you know, some things happen, and the king is murdered, and the Great Coats are scattered, and this story is following, I can't remember. I remember Falcio, because I love him. He's super fucking smart. He's extremely, extremely smart. Like Spencer Reed smart, but like a back in the day. It's a wonderful book. The world is amazing. Oh my god, the belief system too is like really, really interesting. I loved it. I loved it. There were so many like twists, turns. I was like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen next? Who's gonna die next? Who's not gonna die next? You know, it was really good. I started this book in March, but I didn't finish till April. Medusa uploaded the Medusa Cycle book #1 by Emily Davenport. And this book is about a young woman who at a young age was sent over to this other ship to basically be a glorified maid. That's what it is. Like she had some work done on her brain and things. She's like a not quite a cyborg, but she's had like implants in her eyes and her brain and things like that. But anyway, she is sent over, and after she's sent over, the ship she was on, and like somewhere of like 300,000 people just died, her parents included. And this follows her kind of being drawn into this revenge plot that she's gonna she's gonna do it. She makes no excuses for her actions. She's like, I'm gonna do it, and that's it. I started in April and I finished in May. Night Shadow, Great Coats, Book 2 by Sebastian de Castell. And I knew some effed up crap was gonna happen. So this book follows Kel and Brasti and Falcio as they, I think I'm wrong. I don't think there is a Kel. Kest. Oh my god, I'm awful. Falcio, Kest, and Brasti. Oh my god, I'm the worst. The second book continues their quest for, you know, to end the corruption that has just, it is awful, the corruption in this kingdom, and they're just trying to do what's right. And Falcio kind of, you know, begins to learn some things that he otherwise didn't really want to know. But, oh my god, it's so good. I gave this 5 stars. So in May, I read Seed by Anya Alborn and Samantha Leanne at Leanne's Lit. Recommended this book, and I'm pretty sure she did say that this has like some pretty gruesome stuff happen to kids, but I think it like just blipped out of my brain, and I was like, oh, I want to read the book, so I read it, and I'm here to tell y'all there's some really gruesome stuff that happens to some kids in this book. Okay, so it really messed me up. Like, I was terrified of my own 6-year-old for like a hot minute. I was starting to think like I knew what was gonna happen, you know, how the story was gonna end and all that. Oh, I was so fucking wrong. I was so fucking wrong. But it was really, really good. There's a lot of like little twists and things. It was really good. And I did give it 4 stars. In May, I read Killing Gravity, The Void Witch Saga, book number 1 by Corey J. White. And oh my god. This is about a young girl who, along with like other young women, like who were, I think, tested for like this certain like ability, and those who had it were like taken somewhere and like trained, and like really awful shit was happened to them and done to them and stuff. She's super strong, and she's like, you know what, I'm tired of y'all fucking messing with me, I'm gonna kill you. She has a pet she calls Seven, and it's super freaking cute. It reminds me of like a sugar glider. But she, you know, she escapes from this lab where she was like treated like really like awful, and like they were trying to like turn her into this like super soldier, and it's basically her just getting away and just trying to go live her life, but they keep trying to hunt her down because she's like super powerful, and like the story just goes from there. They're fairly short books, but they're really, really good. I gave the first one 5 stars, and I'm currently on the second one. Then I read To Be Taught If Fortunate by Becky Chambers. I gave this book 5 stars. So Earth pretty much sends out these explorers to these other planets in hopes that one day they can be like terraformed and stuff. I love the science that she created. Like they basically, like these scientists, when they're traveling from one planet to the next, they go to sleep, and while they're sleeping, like things are done to them, like their body, like their DNA technically, I think it would be, anyway, to like make them better able to kind of survive on these planets, you know, so that they can like do their job. So I'm gonna read the review. One of the best and worst aspects of novellas, like any other short works of fiction, is that sometimes you need more information, more story, more character interactions, more everything. I love this story and the characters. It takes a lot to be around a handful of people. We're talking like, you know, like a group of like 4 people for a very, 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 very long time. I just love the bond that they all had. It was really beautiful. And they all got along very, very well. Anyway, so they worked very well together, and I really believed in all of them. I believed in all of them as their own person. If you finish the story and you have the burning desire to know what happens next, then Chambers did their job right. And I did give it 5 stars. I watched a video that Ashley over at Bookish Realm posted. I will leave it linked down below, about some of the books that she was reading, and one of them really caught my eye and my attention. It was How Not to Get Shot, and Other Advice from White People by D.L. Hughley. It was a very like sarcastic, she explains the book a hell of a lot better than I'm going to, but it's written by a black man, and it's very like snarky and sarcastic, and it was easier for me to digest, whereas like right now I'm reading White Rage, and it's so informational, like it's really hard to digest. I'm reading it very slowly, and there are times that I'm having to like stop and like reread to like really make sure I'm getting that information. But this book like dumbs it down for white people, especially white people like me, who like I'm not a very like super critical reader. I'm not a big thinker, you know. So I really appreciated that. And there's some of the stuff that he says in this book that I found myself thinking at one point or another, and I'm like, holy shit, Brandy, you dumb bitch. Like, you need to do better. So I really found that as a white person, it was very informative. Yeah, it was very informative, and it really helps me think about myself and my actions, and how I have led to, how I've helped my biases, you know, continue to go unchallenged, and ways that I can help make myself just a better person. So I highly recommend that book. That's a really good book. And I read Do You Dream of Terror 2 by Timio. So this book is about a group of young kids who, at one point there's a whole bunch of them, and then slowly over time through like tests and things like that, they're like kind of whittled down to like the best of the best, and then like the second best is like the backup team, but their job is to, it's like 20 something years or something like that, is to like go through to Terra 2 basically, which is like another Earth that, you know, we have gotten like pictures of and we're getting information from. This, it's not, it's habitable, it's a habitable planet, and so they're going to go and like start the process of like terraforming it and all that. So the premise was really, really good. I loved that idea, and I love a good like journey book like through space. Unfortunately, I found it very, all these kids, well, with the exception of like one kid, they were fucking assholes. They were little fucking douchebags. And their heads were shoved so far up their asses because they were the best of the best, you know? And I'm just like, no. They weren't given enough time to really come into themselves, you know? So like they 13-year-olds in 20-something-year-old bodies, and I just... and normally I like the journey from, you know, planet A to planet B and da-da-da, but I was just like, can we get to the planet? Can like these kids do something besides fucking argue with each other all the time? It was really fucking annoying, and I gave the book 4 stars. All right, that is it for this kind of update. I'm very sorry it's long. It's overdue, and I just wanted to talk and, you know, get some content up. And if y'all have read any of these books, I'd really like to talk about them, either on here or on Twitter or Goodreads even. Like, I don't care, y'all just talk to me. All right, yeah, so that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you later.